Saquon Barkley has moved a little bit back right now, 4 spots from the 208 to the 212. 27 years old, coming off of a Super Bowl win with the Philadelphia Eagles, and just got a contract extension fresh this offseason. So looks like he's going to be there for a decent amount of time, possibly even to end his career. So, yeah, I mean, not a ton of movement for Saquon Barkley, but a very large name right now that a lot of people are eyeing as their startups are getting going. Anthony, your thoughts on Saquon Barkley and Dynasty startups right now?
Yeah, right now, Saquon, where he's going in startups, I'm perfectly fine with. He's 28 years old. He just recently turned 28, so he'll be 28 throughout this upcoming season. And if you look back, and I think we talked about this with CMC, Saquon, CMC, these guys missed so much time early in their career where it's almost like that's a little bit less wear and tear. Yes, we do have to worry about the injury concern. He played 16 last year, 14 the year before that, but he has some chunk games missed earlier. Playing behind this Eagles offensive line and Jalen Hurts and their skill players on the outside, I feel like that adds a little bit longevity to somebody like Saquon Barkley, like it did for CMC before last year, like it did last year for Derrick Henry. So if I'm drafting Saquon in a startup, I'm assuming I'm going to get at least 2 more, I would say, elite seasons out of Saquon Barkley, barring like a non-contact injury.
Yeah, no. I mean, Saquon is a very valuable dynasty asset right now. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Anthony's right there. You know, if we've noticed anything this past season was the veteran running back still has value. We see Derrick Henry, he's still playing at an extremely high level, and he's 31. So assuming you can get 2+ years from Saquon and the Eagles offense, to me, is a great assumption. I think you should operate under that. When you're picking him at the 212, though, in a startup draft, that's a pretty high expense. That's a big investment you're making for your team, and you kind of got to play the board. My only concern with drafting Saquon that high is just, do you miss out on the quarterback play? Now, assuming you're picking 101, 102, 103, you're probably walking away with a pretty heavy hitter at quarterback. And if you get Saquon on the way back, you know, then you got to make the decision. Are you going to get that guaranteed second quarterback, or are you going to go with a wide receiver? So there's a lot of roster construction that goes in with drafting Saquon, because you're immediately committing to being a win now team. So it's one that I really, really try to make that conscious decision whenever I am selecting Saquon, just because it's such an impact on your future of your dynasty roster.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Barkley's statistics in 2024, right, coming off of 205 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, 15 total touchdowns. One thing I worry about is you could look at this 2 ways. Does he regress on rushing yards and touchdowns, but maybe, you know, start to uptick a little bit on receptions, right? 33 receptions is the lowest amount of receptions he's had in his career outside of 2020, where he played just 2 games. So do we see that start to kind of climb back up? No Kenneth Gainwell, no longer there, who is somebody who eats a little bit into those receptions. But taking a look at Saquon Barkley and some players going around him right now, at the running back position, Devon Achane is going at pick 30, Breece Hall pick 34, so a full round behind him. And then you have Bucky Irving and then Jonathan Taylor somewhere around that same area at the moment. I think for me, you know, Saquon Barkley is an asset that you're drafting if you're committing to, you know, saying I am going all in and I'm going to try to compete early on. You know, especially with drafting veteran running backs, like in dynasty startups, you need to have that mindset if you're taking a guy at his age, because look, at rushing 2,000 yards and having 345 attempts, not including a long Super Bowl run, is a lot for a guy that we've seen historically miss games in his career. And he's aging, right? So I think for me, it's all going to depend on roster construction. But if I was shooting for somewhere in the middle where trying to build young at the same time making yourself competitive enough, I think I'd be eyeing more of a cornerstone wide receiver piece in that round, like a Ladd McConkey maybe, or, you know, a Marvin Harrison Jr. or Drake London, who are going, you know, a couple spots behind him. So that would be my thoughts there. But yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley, like I said, is a good asset to own. Our